Warning, the content you're about to see is for entertainment purposes only. The following show features stunts performed either by professionals or under the supervision of professionals. Accordingly, PSR and the producers must insist that no one attempt to recreate or reenact any stunt or activity performed in this show. Enjoy.
AREX Delta Gen 2 from Slovenia. Nice.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Print, Shoot, Repeat. You're looking through the screen. I am sitting in it. It's the internet. We're together, and I want to thank you for that. If you haven't liked or subscribed, I'd consider it. We have a lot of fun in here. If not, that's fine too, though. No pressure. All right, let's get into it. What do we have here? We have the AREX Delta Gen 2. But first, I've got to thank the channel sponsor for Print, Shoot, Repeat. You might know who it is. It is KAK Industry, sometimes referred to as CAK, but not poop. That's what it means in Dutch. In English, it means affordable yet high quality AR parts and more. They offer anything from flash cans to bolt carry groups to upper receivers and all sorts of calibers. KAK is made right here in the USA, and they've been doing it for just over 10 years, and they are the main channel sponsor for Print, Shoot, Repeat, and I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart. You can use the code PSR at checkout. So thank you to KAK. Hallelujah. All right, so what is this thing and why am I doing a video on it? It is not a 3D gun. Well, there's going to be some involved in this project, but first I got to thank Global Ordnance. They are the ones that gave me this handgun. They sent it to me for free, so there's a little disclaimer. I did get this for free, but we're going to be honest in our review of it and talk about some of the customization and the modifications we're going to do to it. Global Ordnance just reached out to me. They were like, hey, we love your channel. They saw the video I did on the Strybog, and they were like, yeah, you want to review a handgun? And I was like, okay, sure. Now, the one thing about this thing, though, is that the frame, which is what we usually put, is actually not the firearm. So this gray part here, the plastic, is actually completely unserialized and not considered a firearm part, so you can get it, which is a plus and a minus, kind of a minus, because we like to put the frame and the fire control unit, which is composed of all metal parts and needs to be metal, is considered the firearm. So if you want to this and not go through a 4473, it's not going to be possible. But if you already have one of these and you want a 3D grip module for it, I think you might be interested. Or if you just want to know more about this pistol and why you might want to get it, stay tuned. So this is a Slovenian pistol. Shouts out to Polinar Tactical. They are also from Slovenia. I'm rocking their merch. We love you, Polinar Tactical. So, why the AREX Delta? I'm gonna call it AREX. Some people call it AREX. Is it AREX? No, it's mine. So the AREX Delta Gen 2 L is what it's called. That's the full name. It is the optics ready version. I found them as low as $329, but I think it retails for, I think, $450, $475-ish, the optics ready version. If you're gonna compare that to like a G17 MOS, which is the optics ready Glock version, that's gonna be more closer to like $600, $650 maybe. This is very competitively priced, and it is also lighter than the Glock 17. This comes in at around 19.9 ounces, about 20 ounces. The Glock 17 is 22 ounces, so slightly lighter, and it also feels a lot thinner in your hand. I think that has to do with the metal magazine. Now, this does ship with 2 magazines. One is 17, which is the standard flush fit magazine, and it comes with an extended magazine, which is 19 rounds. Now, I really like the thin feeling of the grip, but it's cool because they also provide 3 back straps in addition to the stock one that has a beaver tail, and one that's thinner, one that's thicker. You can infinitely customize it to the feel of your hand. Now, I want to customize the grip module, because the cool thing about having a grip module that's not a firearm is you can stipple it and RIT dye it and not really worry about messing it up and ruining your entire handgun. If it was a serialized version, you have a lot more riding on the line if you're putting a soldering iron on that thing and trying to stipple it. Whereas this, I think these are around 50 bucks for the frame, the grip module. That's a lot easier to swallow if you fuck something up, rather than ruining your entire gun that's now trash after you poked a hole through it with your poor stippling skills. But we're gonna try to RIT dye it and stipple it and mess with it a little bit. Maybe even I'll rattle can it eventually. But before we finish that, I just wanna say I did take this to the range, and also I wanna shout out Global Ordnance for sending me 1,000 rounds of 9mm Bellum ammo. They're the first company that sent me ammo. So shouts out to you guys. You guys get an award. I put 2 mags through this thing so far, and it felt pretty great. I did a kind of quick succession of shots, and I would say the grouping I had was pretty good. With striker fired guns in general, I sometimes put it low to the left. The trigger on this thing feels like a striker fired trigger, very similar to a Glock, but it does have a nice kind of crisp, very, very audible tactile break, and a nice reset. Polar Art Tactical has a really good video on how to make this trigger a little bit better by doing some polishing. I recommend you check that thing out. One other cool thing about this is that you can take it down without pulling the trigger. And if you have ever taken down a Glock, you know that you have to pull a trigger. And there have been numerous instances where people, smooth brain as it is, have pulled the trigger in a loaded firearm while they're trying to take down their Glock, and bad things have happened. Well, with the AREX Delta Gen 2, all you have to do is pull this slide back, pull the tabs down like you would on a Glock, but then you push it forward and there it goes out. You don't even have to pull the trigger. So it's smooth brain proof. There we go. In initially shooting the pistol, I found that on a full mag, when the weight was heavy on the magazine with that 19 round magazine, the mag release was a little stiff. This mag release is very, very low profile, which is nice if you're carrying. This is a Glock 17 size frame, so it is less of a carry gun than the 19 style, which they do have a 19 version of it, but I would opt for getting an extended mag release over this because it is just a little bit difficult to find the purchase on that. It is small, but it is also ambi, which is cool. So if you're a left-handed shooter, the ambi mag release is pretty sweet, and it's also got an ambi slide release. So that's awesome. So completely ambi controls, and I say we customize this handgun a bit. I think it's time to do a little RIT dye experiment, and I think it's time to put an optic on it. So we will check back in a second when I make those upgrades. All right, let's do it. Well, hello there. So I got a little carried away and I did a few things. Not just RIT dyeing the frame, which I did do, and I'll show you some shots of the stippled and RIT dyed frame, but I went ham and bought a whole other grip module from Global Ordnance, a black one, so that I could have another grip module to mess with. And what I did was I ended up rattle canning the frame and stippling it again. The original I still have, which it turned out to be this kind of cool, kind of teal color, but I really wanted to try to rattle can a frame, and given that these are only about 50, 60 bucks, decided to just go all out and try another stipple and rattle can it. So this is what it looks like, and we have here the Steiner MPS on the top, and the Steiner looks glorious. Some people might think it's ugly, but I think it looks quite all right, and it actually functions beautifully. Speaking of which, it has been, gosh, about a couple weeks since I did our little jump cut. It's now about 2 weeks later, and I have put over 1,000 rounds through this pistol, and let me tell you, I am impressed with it. Now, I'm not just saying that, I wasn't paid to say that. I really wanted to run the piss out of it and see how it performed, and I was very pleasantly surprised. This pistol, it does have a couple drawbacks, which I will get to, but it's overwhelmingly positive. I have really good things to say. The main being, it just feels better in my hand than a Glock. It just has a really, really good feeling for my hands, and these interchangeable back straps are really nice. I was able to kind of just run some little drills with the holster. First I did one without a light, and then I did one with a light. Now I got a holster all the way from Slovenia from my friends at Battle Gnome Solutions. So Battle Gnome Solutions sent me this holster, which is specifically cut for this light. Now this battle belt is made by Advanced Warfighting Solutions. They are a great company, and they sent me this belt after I was on the Seaburn Art podcast. So shouts out to Advanced Warfighting Solutions. They make some of the best battle belts around, and I love this freaking battle belt, and it's in woodland camo of all things. So shouts out to them. This holster attaches via a Safariland quick detach mount. Once again, shouts out to Battle Gnome Solutions. You can get holsters for your AREX Delta from them, and they are made in Slovenia, so that's pretty badass. Did you know Slovenia borders Austria? I will run this over a Glock 17. I have a Gen 4 17, and I prefer running this, especially given that it's got the optic cut. It just feels better in my hand. I was hitting the gong at 100 yards with this thing, and it felt oh so great.
There's a hit. There we go. Boom.
Now, the biggest positives for me are that it's completely ambi. I think that's pretty awesome. I'm not left-handed, but if I was, I would feel pretty happy about it being ambi. The other positive for me, now while it's not great for printing, it's great for modularity, and that is that the fire control unit is swappable. That is pretty awesome. Just so you can do your stippling and stuff and not worry about ruining your frame, and the frames are very cheap. Construction-wise, it feels very solid, and like I said, that thinner profile of the grip really fits well in my hand, and the optics cut out of the box, and the number of plates that comes with this, it's really unparalleled. You can't get that with any other pistol at this price point, so that's pretty amazing, and that I give them major props. Now, I don't have suppressor height sights, which would be nice to line up with the red dot here, but it's okay. And the Steiner MPS feels freaking awesome. I like the mailbox style. I haven't tried the Aimpoint Acro, but it's in the same ballpark, and I really like the Steiner MPS. The other positive that I really like is this tactile feeling. You can put your thumb on the back when you're holstering the weapon, and you can feel whether or not that trigger is being pressed. I really, really like that feature. The other feature I like is the loaded chamber indicator is very easy to see, and the takedown of the pistol is very, very easy. I like how you don't need to pull the trigger, and you can just pull it back and push it off. And there you go. So now to the cons. So there's only really a couple, and one of them isn't really even a con because I also said it was a pro, but the fact that you can't 3D the frame and have that be the firearm, that's sort of a con for us 3D folks, but I still think it's a pro for other folks in states that are restricted where you can't 3D guns. You can 3D frame, and technically you're not firearm, and you can all sorts of cool adaptations and remixes of the frame. The other con I would say is the mag release. So the mag release, unfortunately, it is very low profile, which is nice. When you're holding it, it really doesn't stick out or jut into your fingers, but at the same time, it's sometimes a little difficult to engage. And Global Ordnance does sell extended mag releases, so I will be hoping to get one of those very soon and see what it's like. The mag release, I had probably maybe 3 out of 10 mag changes. I stumbled and couldn't get it depressed. The mag release has this initial area where you press it and nothing happens, and then you just really have to get in there in order for it to come out. Now, that is, to me, no go, no good. You have to kind of hit it with a certain part of your thumb in order to deploy it, and you can't hit it just by holding it normally. Like, I don't think I can deploy it. I mean, I'd have to move my hand back and get that grip differently, and even then, it's hard. If I was just to hit the mag release here, I can't hit that. That's not happening with my hand wrapped around it. So whenever I did mag changes, I'd have to bring my hand back like this and then hit it. One other con would obviously be the lack of holster support. There is, like I said, a great company, Battle Gnome Solutions, that make holsters, and they are out of Slovenia. I don't think there's a lot of other companies that make holsters specifically for this pistol and various lights. The good thing though was I was able to fit, without this light, I was able to fit it in my Glock 19 holster from K Tactical. So it may fit in your Glock 19 holsters depending on which ones you have. All right, so that concludes my review of this firearm. I am very impressed with this pistol. Like I said, I put over 1,000 rounds through it and really didn't have any hiccups. I really enjoy it, and I'm going to be using it from now on quite a bit as my primary full large frame pistol. So once again, thanks to Global Ordnance for sending this, and thank you for watching the video. If you are not subscribed, please take a second and just HK slap the fuck out of that subscribe button, because YouTube has been unsubscribing people lately. Unfortunately, it is a reality. I get comments a lot that say people got unsubscribed. So you could HK slap that subscribe button, please, and hit that like button really, really hard. I would love it. Thanks again for joining me, and until next time, it's been another episode of Print, Shoot, Repeat. I'm out. Oh my God!
The RX Delta Gen 2 from Slovenia.